Hi, like what you have seen in the video, that forms is the most important element in HTML, which can help you to create a login or sign up forms or any sort of applications that needs the user to fill in. As it's important, I want to explain every little detail. So it will take several videos, maybe between 4 and 6 videos, because it's too long and it's hard to explain it in just one video. I can do that, but I want to explain everything in form as it's significant, so I want to explain everything about it. So, form element can be input element, which has different types, like text, password, and so on. Select element, which define a drop-down list. Text area element, and finally, but element. So, in this lesson, let me just learn some of input elements type, which are the most important input types. Then in the next lesson, I will show you the other types. So let me create a form using form tag, and there is an important attribute. It's not important now while you're learning HTML, but it will be important when you start learning PHP. It's important for the backend side, for the server. So it's called action. So let me call it anything for now, but you have to know it's a server side or PHP page. So action, and then there is another important attribute, method. And you see now three types, get, post, and dialog. But the common used or the most important, get and post. And when you start learning PHP, if you want to learn backend web development, you will know the difference between get and post, and also the purpose from get and post. So for example, let we make it get, then let me close form tag and start with the first input type. So input element, and then the type attribute. The first one is text, and then there is an attribute called value text, for example, and then another important attribute, but not for now. It's for server side, so it's called name, and let we call it also text. So the attribute name important for the data to be submitted to the server. If the element doesn't have a name, it won't be submitted to the server. How we can submit a data without know where this data belong to? So now here is the first type, and make it within a paragraph element, so we can separate it from the others. Nice. So here is the text input. It's also called field. So when you hear field or form, it's the same thing. So here is the text. So the word text is the value. So if we remove here the value, so it's like a recommendation for the user. He can remove it and start typing. Let me now move to the second type, which is email. So the name is email, and also the type. We call this text, and this email. So what is the benefit or what is the difference between text and email? It seems like they are similar, but you will know the difference when we explain the last type in this lesson. Let me now make the third one, and it's password. So when we start typing, the characters will be hidden. But we now make the last one, which is submit. So it's a button to submit the form. So it shows you the result of this form and take this form to the server. So the type is submit, and we didn't need the name. We just need to make a value, which is the name of this button. Value equal to, so what we call it, submit. So if we click the button, it will tell you your file wasn't found because we don't have a server. So the data go nowhere. So when you start learning PHP, you will know how to link this submit button to a server. So let me explain now the email input or field. If we just type anything like this, it's not like an email at all. So if we submit, it will tell you please include at in the email address. So we have to write it in the right form, which is, for example, a and then at gmail.com. So it has to be in the right form. So now it can be submitted and take you to the PHP page. So those are the most important input types. And in the next lesson, we will see the other types. Like what we have seen in the last lesson, what are the most important types of input? Email, password, text, and finally submit button. Let me now take a look on the other types. I've created them before, so it won't take long time and the video become long. So you can try each one by yourself. So the first type we have here is button. So it helps you to create a button like this. Using JavaScript, you can link this button to any website. Then we have radio, which allow you to ask the user to select just one choice. But bear in mind, to link between the two choices, you have to give them the same name. So for example, if we just remove car from the first one, you can choose two choices. So each one of them should has the same name. Then we have color input, which create this shape. So you can select any color you like this. Then we have date, which allow you to select the date, just the date. Yeah, you can change it from the arrows here, and also you can change the year. Nice. Then we have date time local, which allow the user to select the date and also the time. So from here you can select the date, and here you can change the time like this. Then we have type month, which help you to select the month and also the year. Then we have week, allow you to select the week and also the year. So this is the 19th week of the season, and then the year 2019. And also we have here number, the type number, so it's different from text. Here we aren't allowed to insert a character, but in the text we can insert characters or numbers. Just allow to insert numbers. And here is a trick. There is two attributes, minimum and maximum. So we just can insert 5 numbers. That's the max. So if we insert more than 5 and click submit, So value must be less than or equal to 5. Then we have time, which allow the user to select the time, just only the time without date. Then we have a checkbox, which is something like radio, but in the checkbox you can select one choice or more than one. So we can select chicken and meat, both of them or one of them. And here an attribute checked for meat. So there is a mark will be for meat. When we reload, by default there is a mark for meat. If we remove this attribute, none be checked. But it's different from radio. Here the name can be different, but in radio the name should be the same for all choices. So they are connected together or related to each other. And here value, it's important for server side. So if we, for example, check meat, so when we click submit, it will be submitted to the server that we checked meat. Then we have range type, it gives you this shape, and we can specify the minimum and the max. So the max here is 5, so it will just move 5 moves. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If we make it just 4, reload, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have file, so it gives you this button, and you can select any file from your PC like this. Then we have image, which define a picture as a submit button. When we click it, it's supposed to take you to the PHP page. And we have search, used for search field, and behaves like a regular text field. It's the same like text, so there is no difference between both of them. Then we have TEL, which is short for telephone. So if you ask the user to insert his telephone, you can make a condition or a pattern for this number. So the user not just insert any numbers and be submitted to the server. No, you can make a pattern for this number. So according to myself, here is a pattern, 3 numbers, which is the code of the city from 0 to 9. Then 7 numbers from 0 to 9, which is my number. So let we insert here any number like this and click submit. Please match the requested format. But if we insert like the pattern, 3 numbers, which is the code 0, 6, 8, and then forward slash, then my number, which consists of 7 numbers 3, 3, 2, 9, 8, 9, 6. If we submit, nice. For example, if we remove forward slash and make it minus, please match the requested format. So you are the one who tell the user the pattern that should be inserted or the format that should be inserted. Then we have URL, which just accept link. So if we insert anything like this, so if we click submit, here let me make it forward slash, and click again. Please enter a URL. So URL has a format, which is HTTP colon, then 2 forward slash, and then the link. Or you can take this and paste it here. So here is a URL, and if we click submit, it will be submitted. Nice. Then we have a reset button, which remove everything in the form. So if we click the reset button, everything will be removed and back to default. It's the opposite of submit. Submit send the data to the send the data to the server, but reset remove everything or back everything to the default. So those are, I think, all the input types. as now you are familiar with HTML input types. So in this lesson, let we see the attributes that can be used with input. We have seen before three essential attributes: type, which specifies the type of the input, name and value for the server side. So the first attribute we have here is read only. So what does this attribute do? When we try to type something in the input field, you can't remove the value and also you can't type anything. Just you can click it and make a surround border like this. It's autofocus and we will see this. Then we have disabled. Disabled, it's the same or quite similar to read only, but the difference is here we can't even click the input, not like read only. Read only we can click the input. So disabled, you can use it as a hint to show the user that he should insert a certain data inside this input field. Then we have size. Specify the size for the input field. So in this input we have size 2. What if we change it to be 4? So the input field got a little bit bigger. If we make it 10, so that's a benefit from size. Then we have max length. Specify the max allowed length for the input. According to this input, we just have 10 characters to be inserted. So let we insert more than 10. We can't insert more than 10, just 10 characters. If we make it just one character to notice the difference, so just allowed to insert one character. Then we have autocomplete. It has two values, off and on. So for the email input, the autocomplete is off, and for the search input, the autocomplete is on. So let me see the difference. When autocomplete is on, the browser automatically complete the input value. But let me fix this first. So this is on. So let me see the difference now. Now if I click on the input field, I can't see any suggestions. So I have to write the email, the whole email. For example, like this. But for the search input, so once we click on the input, there are suggestions showing up like this. That's autocomplete. So we can make it easy for the user and use autocomplete on. Then we have autofocus. So autofocus, when we reload the page, the input field automatically get focus, the only one that is ready to type something, and the browser automatically focus on this input field. Then we have form target. This attribute used with submit button. It will just open the PHP page if we have PHP page in another tab. So here we have form tag blank, and we have seen this and explained it in the link lesson. So if we submit, let me just fix all those. I will explain this later. So if we submit now, the PHP page will open in another tab. But if we remove here the attribute and see what will happen, so now the PHP page open in the same tab. Then we have minimum and maximum. So minimum and maximum specify the minimum and the maximum values for the input. So for example, we have here a date input. So the minimum date that the user should select is between 2018 and 2019. So here is the date, and if we select the years, it will be just 2019 and 2018. If we change this to be 2010, so we can select between 2019 and 2010. Then we have an attribute called multiple. Multiple specify that the user allowed to insert more than one value. Here we have a file input, so we can select more than one file from our PC. For example, I can select this and this and this, 3 files. But if we don't have this attribute, I can just select one file. Then we have pattern, and we have seen this before with telephone, but here it is with text. So let me allow the user just to insert uppercase letters. So here we just allow the user to select uppercase letters and insert 5 characters. So if he inserted more than 5 or less than 5, let me try. So for example, I give here a value for the pattern, just uppercase letters allowed. So if we submit, please match the requested format, because this is more than 5 characters and also not uppercase letters. So it will be like this: A, B, C, D, E, for example. And let me submit, but I have to type this because it's required, and we will explain this after a while. So let me submit. So now it can be submitted. Let me now move to the next attribute, which is placeholder. So placeholder is like a hint for the user to inform him that this input is for email or for password or username. So the input here is a text and it will be for first name. So there will be a muted text inside the input field. And when we start typing, it will be removed like this. Then we have required attribute. Specify that the input field must be filled out. So if we remove this and try to submit, please fill out this field. So I have to type something. Nice. So this attribute, you will use it a lot. Imagine if you make a sign up form or login form for your website. So you have to use it to force the user to input his email or password. For sure. And finally, we have step attribute. Specify the intervals for the input field and just works with inputs that like the number type, date, week, month. All this contain numbers. So we have here a type time. So if we try to change the time, so for the seconds, we can change it one by one, and for the minutes too, and according to the hours, if we try to change it, it will change 3 by 3. So if we submit now, it will be submitted without any problem. But if we type here 10, please enter a valid value. The two nearest valid values are between 9 and 12 for the hours. So we have to make it between 9 and 12. That's the nearest valid value. And also for the number here, it will change 5 by 5 like this. So those are the most of attributes that can use with input. Most of them is important and you will use it much, like autocomplete, autofocus, pattern, and so on. And some of them you will use it in small cases, like read only or disabled, and that's all is according to your project. So practice all of them, and if there is an issue or there is something you don't understand well, so don't hesitate to ask me. So the second element of forms is select element. Select element defines a drop-down list that allows the user to select one choice, and I will show you how we can make it multiple choice. So let me see how we can create a select element. So within the form element, like input, we will start select element or select tag, and has an attribute name equal to, for example, I will call it. So this attribute is a server-side attribute. To insert the options or the choices, we gotta use option tag. So option, and then an attribute value equal to, for example, make this one JavaScript. So as we explained before, value is a server-side attribute. When this form is submitted to the server, and for example, the user selected JavaScript, so this data will save on the server with a value JavaScript. Then let we call it JavaScript and close the option. So the first option is JavaScript. Let we make another one. So this time let we make it PHP, and the value is PHP, and make another one, and the same for the others. So here are the options that we have. So if we save and reload, so here is the select element. We can select just one choice. Then let we make a submit button to submit the form. So we will use input, and its type is equal to submit, and the value equal to submit. It will submit it to the server if we have a server or PHP page. Nice. Now you can see just one option. So what if we want to show up two options? So I will use an attribute size equal to 2. Nice. So now we can see two options. And when we scroll down, you will see the other options. So size specifies the number of visible values. But also here we just can select one choice. But what if we want to select more than one? So we gotta use an attribute multiple. So now we can use more than one choice like this and submit. So still I can select more than one. I can select all of them. And also we can use some of the attributes that we used with input, like autofocus, disabled, and required. For example, I can make just one choice is disabled. So for example, I will make PHP disabled. So I can select PHP now. Let we make autofocus for the select element. We can't make it for just one option. So we have to make it for the whole select element. So let we make autofocus. Nice. We can also make it required. So the user should select one value. So required. So if we try to submit, please select an item in the list. So that's everything about select element. It's so simple and easy. So text area define a multiple line input field. So it's like an input field but with multiple lines. So simple. Just text area tag and attribute name that we call text, and there are other attributes but I will show you this later. And just to close this text area and save, reload. Nice. So here is the text area. It's like an input field but with multiple lines. So we can control this the size for the text area like this. We can make more than one line. But you notice now when we reload the page, the text area has this size by default. So to control it, we gotta use column attribute and row attribute. Rows specify the number of lines in a text area. Columns specify the width of the text area. So here let we make rows equal to, let we make it 3 lines, and the columns, which is the width of the text area, let we make it, for example, 5. So the size of the text area now is 3 rows and 5 columns, and also we still can control the size like this. We can also specify the max length and the minimum length of the characters that should insert it inside the text area. So for example, let me make a max length equal to just 5 characters. So we can't insert more than 5 characters. And also we can use an attributes like read only, disabled, autocomplete, autofocus, the same like input element. So we can here type something like and make it just read only, so the user can't edit it. We make it bigger. So the user can insert any data or type something inside the text area. So this is the text area. Let me now move to button element. So it's so simple. Just button, and this button, its type is button, and we can give it a value equal to anything. I will make it empty like this. Then the name of the button. We can make a break tag to separate them. So just we can click it. We can link this button to our website. We also have type submit. So let we see now the difference. So submit will submit the form to the server, but the type button, just clickable button that you can use it to make a function using JavaScript, or you can make an action and link it to our website. You will see this when you start learning JavaScript or any kind of programming language. We also have a type preset. All those types we can create using input. So let we remove reload only. Now let we remove the max length. Now let me start typing anything. and if we click the button, it will reset. Nice. And also we can use some other attributes like autofocus or disabled. We can disable this button. So disabled. So we can't click this button. Maybe those attributes not useful for the button now, but when you really learn JavaScript and use it to disable a button, imagine if you have an offer for product or something and there is a button will take the user to the offer. The offer has an expiration date. Once this offer is expired, you can disable the link so the user can't use this button to go to the offer. This is one of the ideas that disabled will help you to make it. And also we can make it autofocus. Instead of disabled, we can make it autofocus. Nice. So that's everything about forms. We have explained input element and the attributes that used with input element. We have explained select element and the attributes. And finally, the text area and the button elements. Just remain two other elements. So in the next lesson, I will explain Fieldset and DataList elements. Congratulations on making it till the last lesson of forms. So let's get started with Fieldset element. Fieldset is an element that draw a box around a related elements. So let me create a fieldset and see this. So everything with a form element, then fieldset element or tag. Then let me make three inputs, one for name, age, and for example, the last one for gender. I will make it within a paragraph element. So name, and then we will make the input, and its type is text. Just make it simple like this, and then let me make another one for the age. And the last one for the gender. So what you see now? Nice. So there is a border that surround the elements. So fieldset make a border or box that surround a related elements. So if this form is for identity, we have to define or make a caption for this form or for this box to inform the user that this form is for identity. So there is a great element that will help you to make a perfect caption. So this element is legend. And then let we type identity. Let we see now. So now the user know that this form is for identity. That is the purpose from Fieldset. But we now move to DataList Element. DataList specifies a list of predefined options. Briefly, it's a mixture of selection and input. Let me see this. So data list and has an ID. Let we call it country. Then let me insert the list of options. So for example, the first one has a value equal to Spain. Then another one with a value USA. And then another one Egypt. Now the last one is other. Let me see how it looks like now. So nothing happened. So we have to link this list to an input. When we explained select element, we used to type the options start tag and end tag and the value of the options in the middle. So we have to connect this data list to an input. So let me make an input and has an attribute list will be equal to the ID for the data list, which is country. Nice. But let we make a paragraph here and type so that's how data list looks like. It's like an input element and select element. So here we have the options and also we can type something. So I can, for example, type India. Let me make a submit button. So for example, if I type India here and submit, of course the file not found because we don't have a PHP page. So data list helps the user to insert a data or select a data from the field. Finally, and before we end, I want to show you a useful tag that always used with forms. It's called labels. Let me see what does this tag do. So it always used before the input. So for the name here, it will make a label and there is an attribute for and will be equal to, let me make this later and let me close the tag. So for will be the ID for the input. So we now connect between the label and the input field. So let me give this input an ID equal to, for example, text. So this label will be for text. So let me save now and see. Nothing new happened. The same thing. But the idea is, so if we click name, I guess there's something wrong. Yeah, here is text. If we hover the name, you see now that there is a border or focus on the input field because we now connect the label or the word and the input field. So if we click the name, we can type on the input field. But here if we click the age, nothing will happen because they are not connected together. So that's the purpose from using label. So good luck with your practicing and studying and see you next time.